Greetings to our respected lecturer. The topic is Theodore W. Adorno and the culture industry, a critical examination of popular culture. Without further delay, I will explain Adorno's concept of the culture industry and how it relates to mass media and popular culture. Adorno, with Max Horkheimer, introduced the term in Dialectic of Enlightenment. He argued that culture in capitalist societies is commodified, produced like factory goods for profit rather than genuine artistic enrichment. The culture industry has four key features: standardization, where products follow predictable formulas; pseudo individualization, which give the illusions of choice; false needs, artificial desires satisfied only through consumption; and mass deception, which pacifies audiences and reinforces conformity. This connects directly to mass media and popular culture. Radio, television, and film distribute standardized products, shaping public consciousness. Popular culture become commodified, value for profit rather than enrichment. For the working class, these goods are accessible for but reinforces passivity and acceptance of inequality. Advertising and celebrity culture embed capitalist values presenting consumption as happiness. Finally, Adorno's triangle illustrates these divisions. At the top, the bourgeoisie appreciate true art, while at the bottom, the masses consume standardized popular culture. This structure reinforces class divisions and sustains capitalist ideology. In short, Adorno's culture industry shows us how mass media and popular culture operate not just as entertainment but as instruments of social control.
Next is Adorno critique of popular culture. Adorno views on mass-produced culture, which is not just entertainment, but a way to control society. He argues that cultural industry like movies, music, and televisions produce content using the same pattern and formulas over and over again. When people keep consuming similar content, they slowly stop questioning it. This affects individually because people are encouraged to follow what is popular instead of expressing their own identity. Creativity is also limited because cultural products are designed to fit commercial formulas rather than allowing real originality. For example, many pop songs today sound very similar because they are created to be profitable, not creativity. Adorno also says that this creates an illusion of choice. Even though it looks like we have many options, the industry actually decided what become popular. As a result, people become more passive and less likely to think critically for themselves. They just follow the trend. Next, Adorno's critics is still very relevant in the modern media today. In advertising, many brands use the same strategies such as emotional storytelling, testimonials, and catchy music to influence consumers. These ads are designed to make people buy products without thinking critically. Influencer cultures on platforms like TikTok and Instagram also reflects Adorno's idea of pseudo individualization. Influencers may seem unique, but most of them follow trending sounds, viral formats, and brand collaborations to gain views and engagement. Their content looks original, but it is actually shaped by algorithms and market demands. In Malaysia, this can be seen during major online sales like Shopee, 1111 or Lazada birthday sale, where many influencers post similar haul and unboxing videos. This shows how modern media continues to standardized content while giving the illusion of creativity and individuality, just as Adorno described.
I will continue my part in 3.0 connection to communication science, que- part A, which is to relate Adorno's ideas to the broader theories in communication science, such as media effects, audience studies, or critical theory. For media effects, Adorno's idea relates to George Gerber's cultivation theory, in which it is stated that long term television exposure shapes the audience's perception of social reality. It also states that repeated media messages normalizes the dominant ideologies, fear, violence, and conformity in the audience's mind. George Gabner's cultivation theory supports Adorno's culture industry thesis by showing that media influences work cumulatively and not through single messages. Next, for audience studies is Stuart Hall's encoding and decoding model, in which he states that media texts are encoded with dominant ideological meanings by the producers, and the audience may adopt a dominant, negotiated, or oppositional readings to interpret the message being delivered to them. His work revises Adorno by acknowledging that the audience, the agencies, are dominated by powerful institutions that encode their text with capitalist and ideological interests, while retaining ideological critique in which the audience interpretation of a message depends on the audience themselves. And for critical theory, which is coined by Adorno and Heikimer in the Frankfurt School, in which Adorno states that mass media operates as a culture industry that standardizes culture under capitalism. Media reproduces ideology and suppresses any and all kinds of critical consciousness. Adorno's work in critical theory forms the philosophical foundation for critical theory in communication science fields of studies. With that, I end my part and will pass on the presentation to the next presenter. Thank you.
Adorno's perspective within the discipline is epistemologically significant because it challenges the idea that knowledge transmitted through media is either neutral or objective. So, according to Adorno's triangle, media knowledge is not simply passed along, it is manufactured to favor certain perceptions. The social elites, known as the bourgeoisie or the hegemony, act as primary communicators, shaping messages before they reach the audience. The message will then consume these messages, thinking it is natural or common sense, unaware that they reflect the interests and interpretations of the elites. So this perspective demonstrates that knowledge is not simply discovered or obtained, it is constructed. What people accept as truth nowadays is heavily influenced by cultural and ideological forces controlled by social elites. Even when the masses attempt to interpret or verify information, their understanding is filtered to sources available, many of which are controlled, sanctioned, or filtered by powerful institutions. Adorno highlights that epistemology in mass communications is inseparable from questions of power, control, and ideology. So, for instance, consider a protest. Social elites might interpret the cause as an arising from a marginalized community, framing it as undesirable or threatening. Media pop stars, on the other hand, or hegemony figures, may transmit the same message or will transmit a different one based on their selective interpretation. Perhaps something from a different angle. For example, from the protest, they take the angle as social justice or human rights. These messages are distributed through various channels, sharing how the masses perceive the event. Some audience may accept their coverage as factual, trusting the elites as their primary source of information, while others may reject it, recognizing it as a biased framing designed to favor elite interests only. So, to conclude, Adorno's perspective within this discipline holds significant epistemological importance because knowledge is never passed down neutrally. Instead, it is constructed to reflect the selective interpretations of social elites. His perspective challenges the credibility of knowledge, showing that what people accept as truth can vary depending on how it is shaped, transmitted, and interpreted by not only those in power, but those who are in the masses as well.
Next, apply Adorno's theory to current case studies in popular culture. First, let's look at TikTok. We often see repetitive content such as dancing, singing, challenges, and luxurious lifestyle. While this appears diverse, it actually reflects standardized ideas of light entertainment and social imitation. When a trend goes viral, millions of users imitate it without questioning. This is a clear example of Adorno's idea of pseudo-individualization, where small differences give the illusion of diversity but still reinforce the dominant structure. In the music industry, most popular songs revolve around the same theme, like love, wealth, and popularity. Although different artists perform them, the song shares similar structure and messages. This demonstrates what Adorno described as the factory-like production of culture, when music is mass-produced to satisfy market demand rather than genuine creativity. Global entertainment franchises such as Marvel and Fast and Furious emphasize visual spectacle and action. However, they rarely address deeper social issues. Adorno argued that popular culture functions as an ideological tool, making audience passive and less critical. This film presents simple, easy to follow storyline for global audience, avoiding complex or controversial themes. In line with pseudo-individualization, they divert attention away from true art and critical thought. Now, let's reflect on whether Adorno's ideas still hold relevance in today's digital and participatory media landscape. Even though platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram appears to give users freedom and participation, algorithm actually control what content become visible. This shows what standardization still dominates. Viral trends, repetitive content, and formulaic music continue to shape culture. Adorno's concept of pseudo-individualization is also evident. Audiences feel they have choice, but these choices are shaped by capitalist interests and platform design. In addition, today's digital culture is tied to surveillance capitalism, where user data is commodified and attention is monetized. As a result, audiences are often distracted by entertainment and less engaged with deeper social or political issues. This proves that Adorno's concern about manipulation and passive consumption remain highly relevant in the digital era.